This session is on directed numbers. By the end of the lesson, we're going to understand negative numbers as positions on a number line and also be able to order, add and subtract integers in context. Okay, let's have a look at a few examples. The first one is 3 minus 2 minus 5. So we're starting at 3, we minus a 2, and then minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we end up at minus 4. Okay, the first few are quite simple. Okay, the next example is minus 3, minus 5, plus 4, minus 2. So we're starting off at minus 3, we need to minus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Add 4, so we're going forward again. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then minus 2. 1, 2, and we end up at minus 6. Minus 2 take away positive 4. So minus 2 take away 4. So the minus and a plus makes it a minus. So minus 2 minus 4 is going to be minus 6. And then the next question, we've got two negatives. Okay, so we've got minus 6 and then we need to take away a minus 3. So we're actually adding on the minus 3. This next one, we're adding on a negative 2, so we're just taking away. So this question here is actually minus 6 plus 3 minus 2. Minus 6 plus 3 gives me minus 3, and then take away the 2 gives me minus 5. So there are a few rules that we need to know. If we have signs that are together, so for example positive and a positive, okay, they join together to make a positive. If we have two signs that are different, then we need to combine them and they give us negative. Okay, and then if we have two minus signs together, then that's going to give us a positive. So for example, if we look at the last one, if you have something like 3 minus minus 2, that's the same as saying 3 plus 2. So a minus and a minus makes a plus, and then that gives us 5. Okay, so these rules are important for you to learn. You're going to press pause and answer these questions. Make sure that you're careful with the signs and use a number line if you need to help you. Okay, there shouldn't be anything too difficult here. I'll just go through O. So minus 3 plus 4 minus 7. Minus 3 plus 4 gives me 1. Take away the 7 gives me minus 6. Okay, and you do a similar method for the rest as well. Okay, next questions. For question 3, you need to make sure that you write out the question and change the sign. So for example, for this first one, we've got positive 3 take away positive 2. So that is just 3 take away 2. Okay, we don't need to write the positive at the beginning. And then minus and a plus gives me a minus, so 3 take away 2 gives me 1. Okay, so make sure that you simplify each of these questions. And then for question 4, you're just filling in the missing space, okay, to make the answers true. 4 plus something gives me positive 7. It's going to be 4 plus 3 gives me 7. Okay, so press pause and answer these questions. Try these next questions. It says, in a magic square, the numbers in any row, column or diagonal add up to give the same number, or the same answer. Copy and complete each of these magic squares. So for part A, we've got minus 7 plus 0 minus 8. So this gives me minus 15. Okay, so we get minus 15. So every row and column and diagonal have to add up to negative 15. Okay, then you have to do the same thing for B and C. So press pause and copy these out. and then press play when you're ready to continue. Okay, so for these magic squares, we've already said that this first one, the magic number is minus 15, so we need to think, how can I get minus 15 in this first column? So minus 7 minus 2 gives me minus 9. Then how many more do I need to get me to minus 15? It's going to be minus 6. Okay, and then the next one is going to be minus 8 and minus 3. I need to take away 4 to get me to minus 15. And then once you've got a couple of them, you should be able to fill the rest in. And these are your answers. Okay, for part B, the magic number is also minus 15. So the missing numbers are minus 9, minus 7, minus 5, minus 6, minus 1. And if you try the diagonal, that's also going to add up to minus 15. And the last one, the magic number is minus 30, and the missing numbers are minus 14, minus 11, minus 6, minus 8, minus 4, minus 2, and minus 1. Okay, so far we've practiced adding and subtracting positive and negative numbers. Okay, we can use the same rules when we multiply and divide numbers. So in this first question, we've got minus 2 times positive 4. So that's just the same as minus 2 times 4. Okay, I've got a negative number and I've got a positive. So I've got a negative and a positive, they're being multiplied together, and my answer is going to have to be a negative. So that gives me minus 8. So I just do 2 times 4, which is 8, and then the minus tells me that it's going to be a minus in my answer. So the first one is minus 8. The next one, I've got minus 6 times minus 3, and remember, a minus and a minus gives me a plus. So my answer is going to be positive, and I'm just working out 6 times 3, which gives me 18. Okay, we can do the same thing for division. Here I've got a minus 15 divided by minus 5. So again, it's minus divided by a minus, so my answer is going to be positive. So it's just 15 divided by 5, which gives me 3. Okay, the next one, let's just simplify this a bit. I've got positive 6 times negative 4, and I'm dividing the whole thing by a minus 2. So I'm going to do the top bit first. I've got a positive and a negative, which gives me a negative answer. So you're going to do 6 times 4, which is 24, and it's a minus. That's divided by negative 2. Now we've got a minus and a minus, which gives me a plus. So 24 divided by 2 is going to be positive 12. Okay, so you're using the same rules as before. So the other one was 2 positives gives me positive, and then if they're different, if the signs are different, we're going to get a negative. Okay, so it's the same rules as before, but this time you're going to be multiplying and dividing. Okay, so you're going to answer these questions. Make sure you show all of your working out, so simplify it as much as you can. So for part A, we've got positive 2 times negative 3. That's going to be 2 times 3 is 6, and then a positive and a negative gives me a negative. I'll just go through n just to make sure that we all know what we're doing. So we've got minus 6 times negative 3, and then timesing it by negative 1. Okay, so if I do the first part, minus 6 times minus 3, that's going to give me positive 18, and now I'm going to times that by negative 1. So I've got 18 times negative 1, which is going to be minus 18. Okay, so now we have some division and some mixed questions at the end, so some multiplying and dividing. Okay, let's go through n. So we've got -6 times -3 divided by -2. I'm just going to write this in a better format. So we've got -6 times -3. Division we can always write as a fraction. So -6 times -3, that's going to give me a positive, so minus and minus gives me a positive. And then that's going to be 6 times 3, which is 18. Then I'm going to divide that by -2. So because I've got a positive at the top and a negative at the bottom, my answer is going to be negative. So 18 divided by -2 is going to be -9. Let's try O. So again, we've got -2 times +6, which I'm just going to write as 6, divided by -3. So 2 times 6 is 12. We've got a negative and a positive, so that's -12. Divided by -3. The two negatives cancel, so that gives me positive, so it's just 12 divided by 3, which gives me 4. We see negative numbers a lot in everyday life. We especially see it with temperature, that's probably the most common one. So we're going to put these countries in order of temperature from coldest to hottest. There's a scale on the side, temperature scale, if you need to use that to help you. Okay, so we've got London at 13 degrees Celsius, Montreal at -11 degrees C, Moscow at -8 degrees C, and Madrid at 20 degrees C. So I'm going to give you a few seconds to put them in order from coldest to hottest. So the first one, the coldest, is -11. So if we look at our scale, -11 is going to be, there's -10, -11 is here. Okay, so that is the coldest one, it's the one at the bottom of my number scale. The next one is going to be -8, so just looking at this, -8 is going to be 2, 4, 6, 8. It's going to be here. The next one is 13 degrees, which is about there. And then the hottest place is Madrid at 20 degrees C. You all have been emailed a copy of these sheets. You need to print them off and cut each box out. So you have something like this. Okay, you've got a lot more on your sheet, but I'm just going to do a few as an example. And you're going to have to link the city with an arrow and then joining it up to the next city. So for example, we start at Anchorage. Okay, so we're all going to start at Anchorage. We don't know the temperature, but we know that from Anchorage to London it's going up 15 degrees Celsius. Okay, so from Anchorage to London it's going up 15 degrees, but we know that in London it's -5 degrees C. Okay, so we've got something plus 15 has to give me -5. Okay, so Anchorage has to be -20 degrees C. So -20 plus 15 gets me to the -5. Okay, if we try the next one, so going from London, so you look for the arrow, that's going from London, and then it says to Moscow. You need to find the temperature in Moscow. When you have a look at your things that you've cut out, you'll see that there are other cities going to London or going to Moscow. Okay, and that will help you to find the Moscow one and then to find the difference in between. So if, for example, you found out that Moscow was 10 degrees C, then going from Moscow back to London, what is the difference in temperature? It's getting colder, so it's going to be minus. Going from 10 to -5 is going to be -15. Okay, but you need to find out what Moscow is first using the other cards that you've got. Okay, you also will have been emailed the temperature scale, so you can use that if you need to help you to work out the different temperatures. And here are the answers to all the questions that we've done. So you can press pause and just make sure that you've got the correct answers for all those questions. And here is the homework, just some more questions for you to try in your own time. Okay, so we should now understand negative numbers as positions on a number line and also be able to order, add and subtract integers in context.